Hi and welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be showing you 3 seeds that we're going to be sowing right now in August in order to get flowers much sooner the following year. I've got some beauties here for you. I've got some really good hardy annuals, and these 3 that I'm going to show you today are 3 that can be sown direct into the ground if you do have some spare soil. Because we want to probably sow these and grow them away in pots, we're going to sow them into module trays, and that is so that we can grow them on, overwinter them, and then get them out into pots, which will be their final destination next year. And it will mean they will flower a month or so earlier than if you leave it till spring sowings. So the first selection I have is a cornflower, and this is a beautiful selection. This has a rich burgundy flower, and this one is called Black Ball. It's a beautiful flower, and it grows to about 75 centimetres by about 30 centimetres wide. And if you continue to deadhead it through the summer months, it will continue to flower and give you months and months of beautiful colours. So I'm going to sow these into these module trays. So I've just got some peat-free multi-purpose compost, and I'm going to fill these trays first of all with this compost. Press them down so it's all nice and compacted. And then we've got a nice surface to be sowing our seeds on. So this is a beautiful cornflower, like I've just said, and I'm really excited to be growing this. We used to grow this one in our Sheffield garden, and we used to love it, had really good success. So here you go. Get those seeds out. Now the seeds should be large enough to be able to do the job of individual plugs, so that we only sow 1 per module. And it just means that we can keep an eye on what we're doing. We don't have to have any pricking out. They can literally be growing in these and then popped out of these and grown into a larger container. And it also means we're not going to oversow. So we can have more seeds to sow if we wanted to later on in the spring. So this is a 20 plug tray, and 20 plants is going to be more than enough for our use. And like I've said, these will probably be growing possibly in the garden, but most likely into containers. So I'm just putting 1 in each of these modules. And I just need 1 more. There we go. We've got a lot more seed now to be saving, so they can go to one side. And I've got some vermiculite to cover them over. So I'm just going to put a handful and sprinkle over the top until I can't see them anymore. Then once I've done that, I'm going to make sure that they do get good contact with the soil. I'm just going to press them in. And then these will get a good water once I've done all my sowings today. And if you'll also notice, now it's been compacted a little bit, the actual tray isn't too loaded with compost, because when it comes to watering, I probably water these from underneath so the water can travel up and then that whole tray can get watered that way, rather than pouring water over the top and dislodging where the seeds are. But when it comes to them getting rained on, or when it comes to us watering in the future when they do start to germinate, it just means that the compost isn't overflowing. So we don't want to have the compost too far up the tray, because otherwise when you water, all that compost is going to bubble over the top. So I'll just leave a bit of a gap at the top. The seeds I'm going to be showing you today can be sown, as I've said, through August into September and even up to really October. But you can sow them direct if you wish. You can get a spare piece of land if you have it, or a seed bed, and sow them direct where they are to flower. And that just means you don't then have to be potting them on and getting them ready in the way that I'll be doing with these. And it also means that there's less disturbance. Once they're planted where they're going to grow, you don't have to then disturb them in any way whatsoever. As with all cornflowers, they do make really good cut flowers and also dried flowers. So if you're into doing that, it's a great thing to be growing. So on to the next one. Just put that by the side of me. And the next one we have is a type of calendula, so a pot marigold. Now this year we have grown Indian Prince, and it has been absolutely delightful. It's a lovely orange, and we've had it growing in pots, and it has been an absolute delight. And that will continue flowering now all the way until the frost gets it in the autumn. So you get a really, really long season out of your calendulas. And when I was looking at the internet, I thought I want to grow another one, and this one in particular really stood out to me. So this one is called Calendula Snow Princess, and this is a delightful soft lemon colour. It grows to about 45 centimetres tall and about 30 centimetres wide. And if we sow it now, like with the cornflower, we can get earlier blooms next year. And this is just delightful. I mean, look at that beautiful lemon colour. I'm really looking forward to this one. So these seeds again will be a good size. We will be able to station sow them. So these are a wonderful shape, these seeds. They remind me of little fossils, little creatures. So because they're large enough, we can individually place them, one per module, into this tray. If you sow these now, it just means that we're going to get flowers a month or so earlier than if you leave it to spring. And these again will flower all the way through to the frosts. And then again, just like with the cornflower, I'm going to place some vermiculite over the top and give them a good layer of vermiculite. So in goes the label, and I'll just put those to one side, and they'll be watered very soon. And then my last selection is a Larkspur, and this one is a flowering mix. So it's a mixture of different colours, pinks, it looks like purples, lilacs, and these ones are a tall variety, so these grow to about 90 centimetres, and these are the annual cousins, if you like, of the delphinium. So we used to grow them in Sheffield, we used to have them in our borders, but they did used to be very slug prone. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful with these and really take care of them. So what I'm going to do first is get my compost in the tray. And I really have gone on to using module trays this year, and I find that it's so much easier than having to prick things out, and it just kind of takes that first step out. It means they can be left in these trays a little bit longer, and it just means that you're not disturbing the roots on the plants. Some plants don't mind, but there are a lot of plants that are a little bit more picky and they don't like root disturbance. So a bit more compost to fill these modules up. And then onto the seeds. So, now these seeds are going to be fairly small. So I know I'm going to be sowing them into individual modules. It just means I'm going to be very, very careful how many I sow into each individual cell. So they are small, but not that small that you can't see them. So I'm just going to be sowing, if I can, one per cell. Now Larkspur are fantastic as cut flowers. Those rich deep colours that's going to be in this mix can be cut away, taken into the house, and those blooms can be enjoyed indoors, as well as leaving some in the garden as well. So I'm just sowing one seed per module. And because we know we've got an issue with the slugs eating us out of house and home, it does mean I'm going to have to be very, very careful where to put these, because as soon as these germinate, if there are any slugs around, they're going to be easy pickings for them. So I'm going to keep them probably on the patio table, which is usually centred on the lawn, so it's not got any contact really with the outside of the garden. And then some more of this lovely vermiculite to cover over the top. And then press those nice and firmly in, so those seeds are in contact with the soil beneath. And then pop my label in, and these will all have a really good water. So that is my selection of the 3 seeds to sow in August. So first of all we had the cornflower black ball, second we have the Calendula snow princess, and lastly the Larkspur, which on the packet says stock flowering mix. So these were all from Sutton's, and they're all going to be fantastic flowers for next year. We're going to make sure that these are kept well watered. When they start to germinate, we'll then keep an eye on them, look after them, and when they get big enough, when they start to fill these little modules, we will be able to see the roots, because the roots will come down these see-through cells. And once they've filled the cell, we can then pop them on into either larger cells or into individual pots. Like I've already mentioned, these can be grown and sown straight into the bed where you want them to flower next year. We're just going to put them in these containers because we don't have much room in the garden, and also we're more likely to put these into pots for displays next year, so we don't want to get them too settled into a garden space and then be moving them out. We'll keep them in containers, look after them, and then when they're big enough they can be planted out in the spring. So thank you very much for watching this video on our 3 seeds to sow in August. There are other seeds you could be sowing, so this is not a limited selection. These are just the ones that we've chosen specifically for this garden ourselves. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comments box below. Please give us a like, and if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, where you can find an array of various different gardening things to do, different tasks, different how-to videos, different visits, please subscribe. We'll see you very soon on the next video, and in the meantime, please do take care.